Hey guys, Jason here. I chose a book called The Day You Begin. It's by Jacqueline Woodson. Rafael Lopez is the illustrator. Nancy Paulson Books. Copyright 2018. I would call it realistic fiction. About 29 pages, and it's kindergarten through 4th grade. This is about two little kids that are going to school. They both feel kind of like they're different than everybody else, and they're very isolated from the rest of the world, or at least from the other children in their classroom. They don't really have friends in the classroom because they feel like they're so much different. In the end, the girl starts to tell her story in class about what she did over the summer, and one of the other boys in the class realizes that he has a sister with the same name as her, and the two kids that were isolated still start to make a connection now. This is a good book. I mean, it's about finding courage to speak even when you're different from everyone else. Both the characters are isolated, and until they start to speak up, they're both lonely and excluded from everything. They think they're different until they can start to tell their stories, and then they find out they're not as different from everyone else as maybe they might think. Actually, let's go read a little bit here. We're going to skip to the end. So, there will be times when the world feels like a place that you're standing all the way outside of. It shows little Roberto standing off to himself, all isolated. And all that stands beside you is your own brave self, steady as steel and ready, even though you don't know yet what you're ready for. And in the picture, you can see that he is sad in the real life, but his image is happy and is reading the books. There will be times when you can walk into a room and no one there is quite like you until the day you begin to tell your story. My name is Angelina, and I spent the whole summer with my little sister. You tell the class, your voice stronger than it was a minute ago, reading books and telling stories. Even though we were right on our block, it was like we got to go everywhere. And then you can see that her and her little sister use their imagination to travel the world. Your name is like my sister's, Roberto says. Her name is Angelina too. All at once, in the room where no one else was quite like you, the world opens itself up a little wider to make some space for you. And you can see where him and her are making a connection now. She's looking at him and he's talking back. This is the day you begin to find places inside your laughter and your lunches, your books, your travel, and your stories, where every new friend has something a little like you and something else so fabulous, not quite like you at all. And you can see that they're now making friends, even though they're not exactly the same. They have more in common than they once thought. I would definitely use this book in class. I feel like it has a bunch of stories that we can tell. It's a heartwarming book. We can use it to teach lessons about looking to see if our friends are isolated. We can use it on both sides. If I see that one kid is over on the playground all by himself, we could teach our kids to maybe go try to befriend that kid. We could also use it to teach stories about how sometimes maybe it's not that other people don't like you, maybe they just don't know you. And so we can start to get them to get courage to speak to each other and try to get to know one another. Maybe their lives aren't as different as they think. And a lot of times when you start to connect, that's when you're going to start making your real friends. There's another book that I read recently called The Name Jar that was kind of similar story to this one. The girl's kind of isolated because of her name. It's an ethnic name and about the same size. And this is kind of what I came up with to do. I would do a little compare and contrast between the two books. But yes, I would definitely recommend this book for younger children. There's a lot of stories, and it's a very heartwarming story.